Good day! This is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad. Hello! Good evening, everyone. Good evening sa inyong lahat. I hope na nakakain na kayo at handa nang makinig sa amin sa habang ito. So, ayan. So, kumusta naman po ang ating mga participants dyan? Ayan. So, habang iniintay po natin, ayan. So, batiin muna natin ang ating mga participants. So, hello kay Nikki, kay Sir Enrico, kay Glenn Marie. Ayan. Hello po sa inyo while waiting and thank you for supporting sa ating weekly webinar na nagaganap po every Wednesday po. Ayan. Good evening sa inyong lahat. So, thank you for your support. Ayan. So, sige nga po mga online participants na nakikinig po sa amin dyan. So, yung nakaraan pong topic na tinuro ni Miss Tony, so natatandaan niyo yung ating speaker si Miss Tony, ano po kaya yung inyong mga natutunan sa nung last Wednesday? Sige nga po kung alam po natin ito, pwede po ba kayo mag-type sa ating chat box kung ano yung inyong natutunan nung last Wednesday. Ayan. Sige po. Sige po, babasahin namin ang inyong sagot sa aming tanong. Ang tanong po ay kung ano po ang natutunan natin nung last topic nung Wednesday. Ayan. So, good evening po sa lahat ng bumabate, sa lahat ng mga nanonood. Good evening sa inyong lahat. So, again, yan po ang tanong natin. Ano po? Ayan, sabi ni Ma'am Melody. Hi, Ma'am Melody Briones Domingo. Ang topic po ni Miss Tony nung nakaraang Wednesday ay Google Site. So, check. Big check po. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ayan. So, again, another questions. Ano po yung bukod sa Google Site? Ina-apply na po ba natin to? Tayo po ba ay nag-practice na ng kahit a little for that, for the Google Site na tinuro ni Miss Tony? Nakagawa po ba tayo kahit papaano? Ayan. So, very good din po si Sir Enrico. Ayan. Sabi niya po ay Google Site. So, ayan. So, this evening, maganda rin po yung magaganap na topic natin. At para din po yun sa inyo, mga dear teacher. Ayan. So, kung na-excite kayo nung last Wednesday, ngayon din may excite kayo because this topic is for you na talagang ginagamit natin. Ayan. So, thank you kay Ma'am Nikki. Ang tama din po ang sagot niya, Google Site. Ayan. Very good, Ma'am Nikki. Ayan. So, talagang yung mga participants natin ay talagang natuto, natandaan nila yung topic na yan. So, wala lang po, hi to Ma'am Mary from Google. Wala lang po siya. Meron po siyang sakit today. But, so, siya yung po yung partner ng DepEd. So, na-miss natin. So, ayan. Hello, everyone. So, sabi ni Ma'am Melody, nagtatry po me para sa GSP site, need to add more pa po. Ayan. So, maganda po siya na gawin, Ma'am Melody, sa ating GSP, sa Girl Scout. Girl Scout pala si Ma'am. Pwede niyo po yan gawin, yung Google site na yan, para po mas madali yung mga information dissemination na ibibigay ninyo sa inyong mga Girl Scout, sa inyong mga girls. Ayan. So, maganda pong idea yan, Ma'am Melody. Ayan. So, good evening din po. Ang lalayo ninyo, ano to, San Mateo South District. Yan. So, ano pa po yung natutunan din natin? Ayan. So, meron taga, ayan, ano pa yung mga natutunan natin? So, glad to see you tonight from SDO Butuan City. Ayan. Thank you so much, sir. Sa mga na-Google certified, I hope nandiyan kayo to listen and support the Google every Wednesday weekly webinar. So, ayan. So, good evening. So for this evening, hindi ko na po patatagalin. So I know some of you are excited na marinig ang isa sa magaling na guest speaker na magbabahagi ng kanyang expertise this evening. So ayan, pero bago dyan, babasahin ko muna ang kanyang short bio note. Ayan, ano sabi ni Ma'am Annabelle. So Google site, it's me from SDO Cagayan. So, ayan, SDO Cagayan, Google site yung ginamit ni ma'am. Ayan, thank you so much naman, ma'am. So, ayan. So, actually, pagka pinag-usapan natin ng Google site, maganda po siya. Marami po siyang pwedeng gawin. Kasi gaya nga ng sinabi ni Teacher Tony, yung Google Docs, Google Sheet, Google Slide, Calendar, Map, at pwede tayong makapag-embed ng YouTube, pwede din. So, talagang makaka-create tayo ng simple website na kung saan po ay magagamit ng mga students natin. And also the teacher kung collaboration. Kasi ang goal naman ni Google is to collaborate para po hindi tayo mahirapan sa paggamit ng mga technology na pwede nating ibahagi sa ating mga learners. So, ayan. So, dumarating na po ang ating mga participants. So, ayan. So, good evening, Sir Ariel. Ayan, akala ko wala siya. Na-miss ko yan every Wednesday. Good evening, Sir Ariel. Shout out sa ating Las Piñas City Science High School. Ayan. So, good evening sa inyo lahat. Please watch and share po kasi may matututunan po kayo this evening. Ayan. So, sabi ni Sir Siegfried, mas pinadali na ang paggawa ng website dahil sa Google site. So, ayan. Thank you so much, sir. Talagang totoo yan. Pinadali. Kasi hindi na kailangan ng maraming coding. Hindi ko sinasabi na hindi natin pag-aralan yon. Siyempre, ang teacher, gusto natin kung saan mapapadali at matututo tayo. So, why not, diba? Na i-adapt yung mga technology na kung saan ay hindi tayo masyadong mahihirapan. Kasi what you see is what you get, drag and drop. So, ayun na po. And lahat ng mga Google Tools application, nandiyan dyan na. Ayan, good evening sa ating mga YouTube uh, viewer. Ayan. So, hindi ko na po patatagalin. So, ayan. Let me read the bio note ng ating speaker today. So, our speaker for today graduated with a degree of secondary education major in biological science in 2015 at the University of Santo Tomas. He is taking up his master degree in teaching chemistry in De La Salle University, Manila. He is a Google certified trainer and a chemistry teacher at St. Teresa's College, from Quezon City. Ayan. So, dear participants, uh, welcome po natin ang ating guest speaker for this evening. Walang iba kundi si Sir Conrad. Ayan, Sir Conrad.
Hello,
Ayan.
good evening po. Good evening everyone. Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes, sir. Audible ka naman.
Yes. Sa mga viewers po natin, narinig po ba ako? Pakilagay na lang sa comments if you can hear me. Good evening po sa lahat. Okay. So ma'am, may
Ayan.
I begin with the training, with the
Okay,
session?
sir. So, good luck po. Thank you. See you later.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Okay. So ayan. Isa-set up ko lang po saglit. Okay. So again, good evening everyone, and thank you very much for your time and being here. I'm very humbled to be speaking in front of you. Okay? Lahat po ng mga i-share ko sa inyo ay based on experience. You may or may not know these things already, but rest assured na okay lang yon if you know better strategies or techniques, or kung gusto niyo mag-share ng kahit ano, please do indicate in the comments. No? So itong time that we have, okay, during the pandemic. Sobrang grabe. Grabe yung distance learning. I mean, who would have thought that our classrooms would become, for the most part, digital as early as 2019? We didn't see it coming. Sobrang daming changes and challenges in the guise of buzzwords such as MELCs, 'di ba? ODL, DL, at ang nagbabadyang blended learning na titingnan pa natin kung kaya natin by probably next school year, 'di ba? I can definitely say na hindi siya madali, and we definitely need all the right tools to make teaching and learning happen during this time. Pero thankfully, of course, a Google Classroom exists as a powerful tool to help us. Okay. So tonight, I will be sharing with you 7 Google Classroom hacks that I believe every teacher should know. Okay, so again, ito lamang ay 7 mga bagay na personally feeling ko makikinabang tayong lahat pag nalaman natin about Google Classroom. Okay? So umpisahan natin. Let's start with number 1. Hack number 1, the perfect banner. Okay? So kapag pumasok tayo sa Google Classroom, usually ito yung unang-una makikita ng mga estudyante. At ako personally, ito yung gustong-gusto kong ini-edit, di ba? So pagdating sa perfect banner or pagdating sa Google Classroom banner, ang hinahanap ko lagi yung high resolution, yung mga usong design like yung mga vector, gano'n, 'di ba? Pero most of the banners or most of the pictures that I find, okay, hindi siya swak sa size ng banner. So if you look at the picture on the left, okay, minsan kailangan pa nating i-crop para hanapin yung sweet spot or yung pinakamagandang area dun sa banner na yon. Okay? And sometimes it takes some time to find that unless of course sanay na kayo. But there are some images, okay, that are already in the correct size for Google Classroom. Like for example, this one on the right. Okay? Maganda. Tama yung layout niya. Okay? So actually, ngayon ko lang din nalaman na yung meron talagang perfect size or set size ang Google Classroom for their banner, and it's actually 800 pixels by 200 pixels. Okay? Ito lang ba yung nag-iisang size na pwede nating gamitin? Definitely not. This is just the minimum. Okay? So as long as the length and height ratio is 4:1, okay? Mas mahaba ng 4 times yung length sa height, okay? Pwedeng-pwede. Basta ang minimum natin is 800 by 200. Okay? And I actually recommend going a bit bigger than that para mas pino yung picture na nakikita natin sa Google Classroom. Okay? So, saan ba tayo pwedeng maghanap ng mga banners? Of course, we have Google Search, di ba? Automatic yan, di ba? First thing that we look for, or first site that we go to, Google, look for a banner, tapos. But there are actually other sites like Canva that we can use. At ang kagandahan dito sa Canva is meron na siyang maraming templates for your Google Classroom banner. So kung titingnan niyo yung length and height nito, it's already 4:1, di ba? So maganda. So if you go to Canva and you search for banner, okay, lalabas dito, classroom banner, click niyan. Tapos ito yung lalabas. 'Di ba? Sobrang daming magagandang mga templates for you to play around with, okay, or for you to create. So, take note na meron mga banner na paid, okay? May mga banner na paid, like these ones with the yellow crown over here. Pero meron din mga banner na free. Okay na ako sa mga free banner. I don't need to pay for the premium na ng Canva kasi kung tutuusin, hindi naman talaga kailangan sobrang artistic, okay, unless you're really into that type of banner, no. So kung mabilisan, hanap tayo ng template sa Canva. Kahit yung mga free lang, okay lang 'yon. Okay? So for example, ito, reading is an adventure. 'Di ba? Tapos meron siyang mga dahon-dahon sa gilid. Ang ganda ng designs nila. And you can actually change up the templates. If you go onto the left column over here, you can scroll down. Ang dami magandang templates. So I really do recommend Canva for Google Classroom banner. Okay? And another thing I want to point your attention to is how Google Classroom banners look like to the students and of course to the teachers. So ang makikita nila is not just the picture, but here you would have an area with text. So kung mas marami kayong specification sa Google Classroom ninyo, okay, mas maraming text yung lalabas dito. Now, what I want to point out is I want to inform everyone that when you create your banners, maganda na iwasan natin tong part na to. Okay, iwasan natin 'tong part na 'to kasi 'pag halimbawa itong chemistry, 'pag nilagay ko dito sa, lower left, matatakpan siya. Okay? So design your banner in a way that the text is away from this area. Okay? And maganda ring keep in mind na pag gagawa tayo ng mga banners, okay, the less text heavy, the better. Okay? Kasi andito na lahat ng mga data ng klase dapat eh. Pagka maraming text dito sa banner, baka hindi siya maging pleasing sa mata ng mga bata. Okay? Now, for those of you who use PowerPoint in creating your banners or graphics, you can already set up yung slide to have that ratio of 4:1. Okay? So if you're using PowerPoint, just go ahead and click on Design. Okay? And then, hanapin nyo yung slide size sa bandang kanan. And then, of course, click on Custom Slide Size. And then afterwards, lalabas tong menu na to, right? So here you can specify the width and the height. Okay? So ang width natin is minimum 800 pixels. So ilagay nyo px, okay, 800 pixels. Tapos automatic na siya magko-convert into centimeters. Okay? And then afterwards, click nyo lang ensure fit. It won't really matter now kasi wala pa tayong nakalagay sa PowerPoint. Okay? And then, once you set it up, ito na yung inyong background for your banner. Okay? So, look for images in the web. Okay? Hanapin nyo yung images na 800 by 200 at the minimum. Pwede kayong gumamit ng Canva. You can also use PowerPoint to set up your presentation. So, in summary, choose a picture or create a graphic with the right dimensions. So, minimum 800 by 200. Okay? And choose banners which are not text-heavy, okay, to avoid additional eye strain or eyesore sa mga bata. And of course, avoid banner text zones. Okay, so I hope that's clear with everyone. If you have any insights, sige, punta tayo sa comment section and just type them there. And meanwhile, let us move on to hack number 2. Okay, organizing classwork. So here, I have 2 screenshots of a populated classwork. Okay, the one on the left, as you can see, sequential lang siya. But here, as you can see, the one on the right, okay, meron tayong mga categories. References, activities, meron din modules. Okay? So, usually, okay, pag halimbawa ako estudyante, mas gugustuhin ko yung nasa kanan. Because if, for example, my teacher asks me to go to the Google Classroom post na activity 1, di ba? Or go to the attendance form. Tapos hindi siya naka-organize in this way, di ba hahanapin ko pa siya? Di ba? I have to scroll down. Paano kung napakarami mga post na? Di ba? So it's a good idea to categorize your posts in Google Classroom. Right? So, how do we do that? Okay, you can make use of what is called topics. Okay? So, ang kagandahan sa Google Classroom, although hindi na collapse, yung mga post, okay, pwede nyo pa rin lagyan ng mga topics yan. And it actually clusters your posts into different categories depending on, of course, what you prefer. Okay? So, makita nyo siya sa classwork and you can also see it on the left-hand side. Now, this is very useful for students kasi pag halimbawa napakarami ng references, okay, or napakaraming activities, hindi nila mahanap yung susunod, pwede nilang i-click yung nasa kaliwa, yung mga icon sa kaliwa. Diba? So, once they do that, okay, once they click, pwede na silang mag-search ng mga topic. Okay. So here, I have a clip, okay, of me navigating Google Classroom using topics. Okay, as you can see, kada click ko, lalabas yung mga post doon sa topic na yon. Okay? So I hope this is clear with everyone. Ngayon, how do we do topics or how do we create topics? Here on the video sa left side, okay, you can go to classwork and create a topic from there. So just click create and then piliin niyo yung topic from the drop-down menu and then it's going to create a topic for you. Just have to write it down or type down your topic title and then click on add. So lalabas siya dun sa Google Classroom. Now, on the right side, itong video na ito, you can also create topics as you assign posts. So kapag may mga assignment kayo na pinopost or material, okay, pwede kayong pumili ng existing topic on where that material or post should be nested under, or you can create an all new topic while you're creating the assessment or the assignment. Okay? So, dalawang way on how to create topics. First is through classwork and second is through your assignments. Okay? Ang kagandahan din is nadadrag ninyo yung mga assignment posts, under each topic. So, it's very easy to organize. Okay. So, let's move on. Here, zoom in ko lang yung mga title ng activities. So, kung mapapansin ninyo, uniform yung mga titles. No, so this is another tip that I would like to give everyone is decide on a naming system for your Google Classroom posts. Okay? Lalo na yung mga teachers na maraming pinopost ng mga activities, no? So let us decide on a naming system and be consistent with that throughout the school year if you're using Google Classroom for a school year or more. Diba? So the more you're consistent with this, the easier it is for your students to identify what topics you are talking about or what posts you're talking about. Diba? So aside from being consistent, students also have to be informed of this system para eye to eye kayo. Pag sinabi mo, go to activity 4, alam na nila kung nasan yon, diba? Go to reference_1, diba? Alam na nila kung nasan yon. Okay? So, I'd like also to point your attention here sa topic na to, activities. Tapos meron parang kidlat dito sa may bandang kaliwa, di ba? So, this is actually a technique or a technique that I learned from one of my colleagues, si Sir Gan from STC. Ang ginawa niya sa classroom niya, lahat ng mga topics, merong mga icons. Di ba? So, nung nakita ko yun, sabi ko, paano yung ginawa to? So, I learned in the future na pwede ka palang pumunta at maghanap ng mga emoji online. Di ba? So, you can go ahead and search emoji. Tapos, yung pinakauna usually yung pinipili ko, yung pinakaunang link dito, yung Getmoji, I think. Okay? Get emoji rather. Tapos, it's gonna lead you to this site and then napakaraming mga emojis to choose from. So you just search a keyword there depending on the topic that you have for activity. Pinili ko kidlat kasi active, may electricity, things like that. So napaka-useful nito and I think it adds a little bit more of a character to your Google Classroom. So mas expressive siya. Right? So probably kids will be more excited or students will be more excited to enter your classroom if they have this as your topics. Okay, so just a little tip. Yeah. So in summary, for hack number 2, use topics to cluster your classwork posts and use a naming system. Okay, but don't forget to be consistent and inform your students of this naming system. Okay. So let's move on to hack number 3. The classroom meet link. Okay. So for those of you who are probably not familiar yet with Google Classroom, naka-integrate na yung Google Meet doon sa Google Classroom. And you can actually find it in the stream, okay, which is on the left side, left column. So you just click on join if it's already activated, okay? Or it can be accessed through classwork. So if you click on classwork, click this icon, it's going to lead you already to Google Meet. Diba? So, madali lang din itong i-access for our students because basically what you see is what also they see. Right? So you can access it in 2 ways sa PC. One is in the stream and the second would be in classwork. So that's for PC. Paano kung si teacher on the go? Gusto niya nagtuturo habang bumabiyahe, di ba? Or wala siyang choice kasi na-late siya sa commute to somewhere. Okay? Thankfully, if you have Google Classroom and Google Meet installed in your mobile phones, okay, you can also access Google Meet through the Google Classroom app in your phone. So you just click on this icon over here, okay, this camera icon, and you can enter already your class's Google Meet, okay, from your phone. Diba? So I've used this numerous times, okay, already. When I have to be somewhere or when I have to be in another location sa bahay, tapos hindi ko madala yung laptop ko, I use mobile, okay? So there are also some things that we can do with the Meet link ng klase. Okay? We can actually manage the Meet link. Okay? So ito yung mga pwede natin gawin. We can copy the link, send it to a requesting student or administrator or teacher. Okay? We can reset the link if for some reason it does not work or medyo faulty, hindi makapasok yung mga bata, pero yung mga settings natin ay tama naman, we can reset the link. Okay? So pag nireset natin yung link, magbabago yung kanyang code. Okay? And we can also remove, okay, the Meet link, okay, for everyone. So pag may nag-enter ng Meet na yon, hindi na makakapasok kahit sino. And here we also have the option to hide it from our students. It's still accessible, but the students will not be able to see the link, okay, in Google Classroom. Okay? Ayan. So in summary, for hack number 3, okay, we can access Google Meet in the stream or classwork through our PC, okay, laptops or computers, or in the mobile app. Okay, that is actually possible. And we can set up our classroom Meet link. Okay, we can copy, we can reset, or remove. Okay. Let us now move on to hack number 4, securing your class. Nako, nung nag-umpisa yung yung ODL, naalala ko yung planning namin. Sobrang natakot kami kasi during the onset of it, nagkakaroon ng mga balita, no? Yung may mga other accounts, may mga accounts from other organizations or personal accounts na nakakapasok sa mga klase. Okay? Not necessarily Google, pero natakot kami na paano kung nangyari sa amin to? 'Di ba? Thankfully, yung Google, nag-roll out siya ng update wherein it makes it easier for us to be able to control the security of our class. Tapos may mga features din nakasama na I would believe very useful for us teachers. So you can find all of those settings sa host controls once you enter Google Meet. Okay? Either from your class or from a calendar-generated Meet or any Google Meet for that matter. No? So you can click on this icon. Okay? Tapos ang lalabas dyan, okay? Sorry, view all host settings. So this is just yung mga nakikita nyo dito, this is just a part of the settings, but let's move on over to all host settings. Okay? So sa host controls, marami kayong pwedeng gawin. First is host management. Okay? If this is on, you can actually control what your students can do in the Meet. You can allow them to share their screen, send chat messages, turn on their mics, turn on their videos, etc. Okay? So we can actually edit these settings as necessary. Okay? For example, medyo excited yung klase, di ba? We all know how students are when they are excited, right? When they're too excited, baka magkaroon ng pagkakataon na magchat sila, na nawawala na sa focus yung lesson, di ba? Or si teacher, di ba? Baka mag-on sila ng camera, tapos inappropriate yung background, or baka naman every now and then nag-unmute and they become very rowdy, etc. Okay? So we can turn these off when those things happen. But as teachers, okay, we should always do the necessary processing and explain to them, of course, these kinds of behaviors are not necessary or not suitable for the online setting. Diba? So these are solutions and they can also be deterrents. Okay? But at the end of the day, nasa pagproseso pa rin yan ng bata. Now, this is what I actually want to focus on, yung quick access. This is all about security. No? So, here in quick access, if it is turned off, okay, hindi makakapasok yung mga participants unless the host is not there. Okay? Or unless the host is there. So, the host must join first before the participants can join. Okay? So whether this is a class we're talking about or whether it's a meeting with your co-teachers, okay? Basta ikaw ang host ng meeting, okay? Pag naka-off to, walang makakapasok maliban ikaw. And only people invited by the host can join without asking. Okay? Pag naka-off to, for example, you're using a calendar-generated Meet, okay? lahat lang na makakapasok ay ang mga in-invite mo. Ngayon, when we're talking about Google Classroom Meet link, okay, yung mga estudyante automatically invited na sila doon. So they can actually join without having to ask, without having to go through the holding room, okay, or the lobby. Okay? So here's an example of a student, okay? Here's a clip of a student, okay, my other account, trying to enter a Google Meet habang wala pa si teacher. Okay, so magjo-join siya. Tapos lalabas, ready to join, join now. Ayan, so lalabas dito, okay, ang waiting room, okay. Lalabas dyan, waiting for the host to join. Pag marami ng mga estudyante na pumapasok, nasa waiting room lang din sila. Okay? They can see each other, okay, but they cannot communicate with each other. So pag pumasok na si teacher, doon pa lang magsa-start yung class. At doon pa lang sila pwedeng makihalubilo sa isa't isa. Okay. Now, here's an example, okay, of a personal account trying to enter a Google Classroom Meet. Anong lalabas kaya sa account ni teacher? Okay. Ayan. Someone wants to join this call. So this is my personal account, and I can actually deny entry or admit entry dun sa account na to as the host of the Google Classroom Meet. Diba? So this is what it looks like on the other end, asking to join, pero you can't join this call kasi si teacher ay nireject niya yung entry. Okay? Nung account na yon. So always be mindful, okay? I suggest i-off natin lagi yung quick access para maiwasan yung mga ganitong klase mga security breach. Okay. So again, we move on to the mobile app. So pwede rin nating i-edit yung mga settings, security settings through the mobile app. You just click on this kebab menu over here, the lower right. Tapos lalabas dito, mga icons like in-call messages, share screen, meeting safety. Okay, that's what we're interested in. We click that, you can see host management and all the other options like quick access, share screen, etc. Okay, so even in the mobile app, you can edit the settings of Google Meet. So in summary, use host management to permit or prohibit potentially disruptive actions. But again, of course, kailangan as teachers, we do the necessary processing. Okay, it can be during class, it can be after, as long as it is picked up. Use quick access to add a layer of security to your class from outsiders. I cannot stress this enough. Cybersecurity is very important nowadays na ang mode of communication ng lahat ay online. Okay? Mas mahirap i-manage ang cybersecurity as compared to physically. Kasi kita mo agad eh. Ako personally, yun ang opinion ko. Kita mo kung sino. Diba? Pero when it comes to online, the people can be anonymous. So adding layers of security will truly help your class. Okay. The next slide that I want to show you is when can we turn on quick access. So may mga pagkakataon na feeling ko pwede natin siyang i-on. Okay? But only for a limited time. So we usually turn quick access off. Ako personally, ito yung aking tip, no? During regular class days. Okay? Regular class days. Because monitoring can be very difficult on a daily basis. So we just turn it off. We also turn it off when we have other confidential meetings like PTC, consultations, deliberations, etc., faculty meetings. Now, we can turn quick access on if, for example, we have class observations and our coordinators want to pop in, no, without having to ask entry. Diba kasi meron tayong ganun dati na ayaw mapansin ni coordinator na pumasok siya sa class. Diba para smooth flowing lang. Kasi kapag hindi sila invited sa classroom or wala sila or hindi sila teacher sa classroom ninyo, they are considered as outsiders. And if they enter the classroom ang mangyayari, or the meet rather, ang mangyayari doon, mano-notify si teacher. Diba? So it really depends on your school system, on the policies that they have regarding this. So you can turn quick access on, provided that probably you know already the observation schedule. So sa araw na yun, dun mo lang i-on yung yung quick access. Pero after nun, patayin mo na para added layer of security ulit. And if you're using Google Classroom's link for public events or webinars, or any Meet link for that matter, di ba? Although we can use streaming, okay, but I guess there would be some times wherein we can actually host public events or webinars, no? If there are those times that we need to do that, we just turn it on to avoid having to admit multiple number of people. Okay, so anyway, ang maximum lang ata ng Google Meet is 250. Okay, but then again, this is going to be a good tip if you're going to use it for a public event or webinar. Okay, so I hope everything is clear so far. You can probably share your insights through the comments. Okay, and let's move on to tip or hack number 5. Keeping students on task. Okay, so in face-to-face, it's very easy for us to monitor our students and to know if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in class, di ba? Pero in distance learning or in online distance learning, di ba? This is very difficult. Personally, ito yung isa sa mga bagay na napaka-burden for me because nasistress ako kasi ang dami kong pinrepare ng mga activities, okay? And some of these activities will give them their grade na, 'di ba? The assessments. So laging it's always a nerve-wracking experience for me na i-check kung ginagawa ba nila ito, are they doing this at home? There's really no direct there's really no direct way. 'Di ba? Unless of course, may mga camera tayo sa mga bahay nila na always on tayo CCTV. Hindi pwede 'yon, 'di ba? That's not the case. Okay? So, what are some of the things that we can do to keep students on task? No? We can do follow-ups, diba, with them. And the way we do follow-ups, okay, is of course, we can do it through Google Classroom. And we can do it in a number of ways. Okay? So, here on the screen, on this part, okay, I want you to look at this. We can send actually emails to our students using the People tab in Google Classroom. Diba? So, pag gusto nating i-email yung bata, we can actually just go to Google Classroom and then the People tab, and then we choose the name of the student, okay, that we want to email, and then just click on this option, this kebab menu, and then email student. Hindi na natin kailangan pumunta sa Gmail at kabisaduhin yung mga emails ng mga bata or copy-paste it from an Excel file or a Sheets file. Right? Basta naka-enroll na sila sa classroom, pwedeng-pwede na to. And we can also email multiple students, as you can see here on this video. Diba? Just click on the check boxes, and then click on Actions, and then Email. Sa baba, this is an example of emailing all students. So if you click on the first checkbox that you see, tapos Actions, Email, okay, masa-select na lahat ng mga students and then you can send them an email for the class. Okay? So maganda ito, for example, you want to follow up students on certain assessments. Like for example, may hindi nagpasa on time, you can send them an email through this option. Okay? Or if you want to immediately inform the class of a confidential, document or an announcement, you can do this. Okay? Or you can also go on stream, the classroom stream, where you can post it there. Okay? Okay, so we can also actually follow up students through specific activities, like what I did here. Okay, you can go to the activity and then just email the student from there. Lalabas yung temporary email, a temporary Gmail window. Okay, and then you can just write them a follow-up and wait for the reply. Diba? So kapag may activity kayo, halimbawa ito, activity 4. For this certain activity, lalabas na dyan kapag in-email mo yung subject ng activity na yun. So lalabas dito yung title, Activity 4. Okay? And then just go ahead and email the student. You can also do it for multiple students, etc. And you can also use private comments. So dito wala pang submission, okay? But if you have here, like for example, a Google Doc or a video or some slides, right? Pag nag-submit yung student ng ganong klaseng file, lalabas siya dito. And then if you have any questions about that certain submission, you can just use the private comments. Diba? You can use the private comments. And for me, this is one of the best ways on how to, this is the first way that I follow up my students through private comment. Pag hindi sila nagre-reply sa private comment, dun ko sila ini-email. Okay. So for assessment-specific concerns or submission-specific concerns, use private comments. Okay. So in summary, for hack number 5, you can send emails through the People tab. Okay. And we can also maximize the private comment section in each assignment post. Okay? So remember that when you're using Google Classroom. Okay. So I'm looking at the comments. Okay. Not applicable to students who are not offline. Yes. Okay. There are some features of Google Classroom that are not applicable for students who are offline. Okay. Let's move further to hack number 6, assigning individual tasks. Okay, so here I have an example of a Google Classroom classwork, no? And here is a material that I posted, right? So here you have, as you can see in the center, naka-assign lang siya sa isang student. Okay? So sometimes, kasi as teachers, we are often, or we are sometimes faced with students who ask for some additional notes, or probably yung mga advanced na students, pwede nyo silang bigyan ng mga enrichment materials or individual tasks. Or if you want to do differentiated learning or differentiated instruction, DI, di ba? You can assign different reference materials to some set of students na sila lang yung makakita. Diba? You can do this using Google Classroom. Okay. So to do that, you can create an assignment, okay, or any of these posts. And then, of course, have a title. And then click on this option over here. And then just select the student or students that you would like to target for this particular post. So for example, si Miss Igay. Diba? So you can add the video, you can add a file from Drive, you can add the link, okay? And then you can assign it to that student. Tapos lalabas, okay? Ang enrichment material ay nandito. Okay, hindi ko siya inassign into a topic. Lalabas na naka-assign lang for him or her. Naka-assign kay Ms. Igay. Yan. Okay. So in summary, okay, we can provide individualized or differentiated tasks or materials to certain students. Okay, so that's a very quick hack that I think everyone can make use of. As we move on to our last hack for this evening, okay, so we can actually co-teach in Google Classroom. So what does this look like during face-to-face? Usually kapag co-teaching, may multiple teachers in a classroom teaching a certain subject, right? Or probably you have an assessment that multiple teachers would like to check, right? So integrated assessments, okay? So in Google Classroom, you can actually facilitate this kind of activity or this kind of concept, right? So you can actually add different teachers to your classroom. So for example, here I invited Sir Dalde, okay? And he is now, well, I'm now waiting for him to accept the invitation as another teacher in my class. Okay. So how do we do this? You just simply go to people, okay, and then click on this icon over here, okay, and then type the email of the person or the teacher that you want to add to your class, and then click on invite. And then the waiting game begins. wait for your colleague to accept the invitation. Okay. So, ano ba yung mga benefits or advantages ng pagkakaroon ng maraming teacher or multiple teachers in Google Classroom? Okay? So, Here, for example, you are, just a minute, sorry. Okay. For example, your school plans to reduce, okay, the outputs of the students. So, ang mangyayari dyan, pwedeng magplano kayo ng mga integrated assessments. Meaning, if you have like, for example, one assessment, okay, ang part nun ay math and science, for example. 'Di ba? So, you will, as teachers, you will see kung ano-ano yung mga assessments na pwede nyo ipag-combine, okay, into just one assessment, and then you can check as multiple teachers, okay, to lessen the load of your students. Diba? So it involves careful planning to ensure that all the competencies, okay, or most of the competencies at least, are hit, okay? And it's very rewarding also. Kasi number one, it solves the problem. Well, it partially solves the problem of student load. And number two, okay, it allows your creativity to flourish as teachers. 'Di ba? So for example, meron akong integrated assessment na ang involved ay math teachers and science teachers, or math and science or math and chemistry, right? So yung task na yon, merong multiple rubrics, 'di ba? So ang pagkaplano namin, ako yung mag-check ng comprehensiveness of analysis, and yung math yung mag-check ng accuracy of data. 'Di ba usually kapag meron tayong mga ganyan in face-to-face, ipapasa natin sa kabilang teacher, no, yung work. O pagkatapos kong checkan, ikaw naman mag-check. Okay, dito sa Google Classroom, pwedeng sabay. As long as you have your teachers all included in one Google Classroom. So when you do this, of course, it involves careful planning. Okay, and then one of the teachers will be the one to create the rubric. So i-inform na lang nung isang teacher yung main host probably, or yung main teacher ng classroom, of the rubrics of na kailangan nila for the assessment. Tapos i-encode na lang sa Google Classroom. So here's how you do it. Okay, for example, activity 3, math and science project. Pag click natin, okay, we're gonna see the rubric. So this is what the students also see. And as a math teacher, you can check this. As a science teacher, you can check this one. So here are the descriptors. Diba? So, how do we create these rubrics in Google Classroom? Sorry. Okay, so we can go ahead and create an assessment or an assignment. And then here, we have to write a title first. And then as we enter the title, okay, magiging available na yung option to create a rubric. So just click on create a rubric, and it's going to lead you to this creation hub, okay, wherein you can where you can type in all your rubric specifications. So yung criterion description, yung criterion title, you can use scoring, or you can go proficiency based. Okay, you can disable scoring for that. And then you can do level titles, etc. Okay, so this particular hack, okay, is not, I believe it's not necessarily niche, meaning hindi siya for a few only. I believe that a lot of teachers are also doing integrated assessments and co-teaching in Google Classroom. But I believe that this hack is important because it allows you to streamline your work. Hindi na kailangan mag-submit ng mga students to different classrooms ng same assessment. So kapag in-invite niyo yung teacher or yung colleague niyo sa Google Classroom, okay, doon isahan, pwede nang i-check, pwede nang i-submit. Diba? So it really streamlines your productivity, okay, as teachers. And for example, kung halimbawa, hindi na kayo comfortable na nandun yung teacher, probably, for the entire year, para lang dun sa assessment, pwede siyang makapasok. And then, the teacher can already leave the classroom for privacy purposes. No? So, in summary, you can add a teacher to your classroom, and you can implement integrated assessments through Google Classroom. Okay? And that is it for my presentation for this evening on 7 Google Classroom hacks that I believe every teacher should know. Now, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure sharing my personal experiences with Google Classroom. And I hope na kahit papano meron kahit isang tip or hack na magagamit ninyo in your own context. So maraming maraming salamat, teachers. Okay? And hanggang sa muli. Thank you very much.
Ayan. So, thank you so much, sir. Ako nga may natututunan this evening kasi ginagamit naman namin or not some of the teacher na nagko-comment sa ating Facebook Live and also sa YouTube. Pero ito po something new, 'di ba? Something new because the word hawk, 'di ba? So, yung word na yon, minsan hindi natin napapansin. So, pero yung diniscuss ni sir nakakatulong. Like for example, sir, yung organizing the activities na shinare ninyo, hindi ko nagagawa yun yung magkaroon ng emoji. Pero I know how to use the emoji, pero hindi ko din po siya alam na pwede din pala siya na maglagay ng emoji before the word ng activity. So, ayan, may natutunan na ako dyan. So, thank you. Kayo po, mga participants, pwede po kayong mag-type sa ating chat box comment section if you identify or if you're thankful na may natutunan kayo or if you have any questions para maliwanagan po ni Sir, yes, pwede po kayong magtanong sa ating chat box. Ayan. Hello, Ma'am Bioli. Ayan. Ayan, sa ating pong mga YouTube participants, pwede po kayong magtanong. Ano po yung pinaka nagustuhan ninyo sa 7 hawks na tinuro ni Sir Conrad? Sige nga po, mga online participants. So, alam mo, nababasa ko, sir, lahat po sila nagti-thank you kasi na-appreciate nila yung tinuro nyo. Kasi, meaning, mapapadali na po yung paggamit nila ng Google Classroom. And I know some of us were using Google Classroom, but this hack has helped us to uh, be creative. Like ako, I really appreciate the emoji. Kasi mahilig akong maglagay ng emoji sa mga text ko. Yung emoji smile, yung ganyan. O yan, tingnan niyo yung mga participant. Sabi ni May 4, ayan o, emoji participants. So, ayan. Kayo sir, di ba po you're in the private school? Nung
Yes
nagkaroon
po.
po ba ng pandemya, talaga pong into online type of modality na po kayo agad?
Sa STC, we do both online and offline. So we prepare modules such that applicable siya in both online and offline context. So may mga printed pa rin for our offliners. And then karamihan online. So we do use Google Classroom also.
Ayan. So, gano'n talaga, no? Pinaka the best thing na nangyari nung pandemic is to use the different platform. But especially, most of us, we use the Google Classroom kasi it is easy to use, diba? Diba, mga dear teacher? Ayan. Sabi ni Sir Ivan, Cyrus, Dalde, nagustuhan ko po yung pagmamanage ng integrated tasks. Very very helpful to both students and teacher. Ayan, Sir Conrad, anong masasabi mo dyan?
Salamat po, Sir Ivan. Paki-accept na yung invitation ko sa classroom.
Ay, thank you pala yan. Co-teacher niyo pa siya.
Opo,
Ayan,
ma'am.
sabi naman ni Glenda Marte Murillo, sabi niya, ang nagustuhan niya is the individual tasks and add topics. Ako, I always use topic kasi kapag marami na yung in-upload mo na module, minsan mahihilo ka na kasi di ba pumupunta yun sa gilid. So, it is, syempre pag sinabing teacher, organize ka. So, nakikita din yung pagiging organized mo, not just in writing or compilation of a lot of papers, dapat nakikita din yan sa ating platform na ginagamit. And anyway, Google Classroom is one of the best platform na magagamit natin sa online learning. Ayan. So ano po pa kaya yung mga babasa natin na na-appreciate nila for this topics? Again, our topic is the 7 hawks teachers know in Google Classroom. Sabi ni Sir Melchor, kilala mo ba to, sir? Ayan.
Ay,
Ah,
hindi po.
thanks po, Sir Conrad. Team teaching sa Google Classroom is a very good strategist because most of the subject are interrelated to each other. Yan, tama yan. So, interrelated each other. Tama yung sinabi ni Sir. Halimbawa, if you're teaching research, diba? Pwede naman na merong mag-view ng the data analysis or yung mga statistic yan, pwede yan. Math ang
Opo.
mag-view dyan, di ba sir? Sa content
Yes.
naman po, pwedeng English ang mag-view dyan. Okay? So meaning,
Correct.
marami pong mga integrated tawag dyan, collaborative. So yan, na magagawa ng mga teacher. So sabi nga ni Sir kanina, kung nasa iyo naman yun, halimbawa pagkatapos ng ma-assess ni teacher yung data ng research, for example, pwede naman na din siya na mag-leave dun sa class for privacy. Pero kasi
Opo.
sa school, maganda rin po siya, sir, i-practice kasi para din hindi po medyo nai-stress yung ating mga learner. Kasi kung most subject naman are interrelated, like na sinabi ni Sir kanina, pwede naman po talagang pagsamahin. Kasi
Opo.
mas napapadali yung buhay din ng teacher. Kasi like for example, if the teacher hindi magaling sa ganong aspeto, tapos with the help of other teacher na magko-collab, maaari silang magtulungan. Ayan, di ba
Opo.
sir? Yan. So, sabi naman po ni Sir Doris from, Sir o Ma'am, sorry po, from the YouTube viewer. Sir, ask ko lang po kung may online class at gamit ang Google Class kasi ang alam ko po, hanggang 100 lang ang pwede sa Google Meet. Paano kung 300 plus na ang papasok to join? Ano po ang gagawin para maka-join sila? Ayan, so ang hirap na tanong
Nako.
yan. Sagutin ko yan.
Actually, na-experience namin yan dati. Yung subscription namin is sa Google Meet hanggang 250. So, hindi rin gaano karami yung dinagdag from the 100 na meron si Sir, no? Ang ginawa namin, dalawang meet link talaga. Dalawang simultaneous meet link. Na halimbawa, kung mag-isa ka lang, kung kaya mo mag-present dun sa dalawa, pwede. But if you're like, for example, a group of teachers that teach the whole batch, pwedeng si Teacher A nasa isang meet link, si Teacher B nasa kabila. But if you're dealing with 100 students in just one section, siguro you can find a different schedule for half of the class to do your synchronous session with them. Tapos yung kabila, asynchronous na lang muna. So those are just some of the ways that we can probably solve the limitation na meron ng Google Classroom. Or pwede rin kayo mag-stream using Google Meet. Ganun po ang naisip ko. Sana po nakatulong.
Oo, yan. So, usually, sir, kasi 'di ba sa Google Classroom, kahit na halimbawa you're handling six class, we can create a separate section for them. Kasi pag halimbawa 100 ang students mo o 150, parang ano siya, parang mahirap sa Google din kasi nga 100 lang siya. So why
Opo.
not na halimbawa each class naman nandoon yung Google Meet, we can create the Google Meet link for each class. Better yun kasi as a teacher, actually as a teacher, wala naman pong pinagkaiba na gumagamit tayo ng Google Classroom. We can create uh, classes. Let's say if you handle 10 classes, you can create 10 classes. Doon sa classes na yun, may sarili silang Google Drive, may sarili silang Google Meet. So, lahat po nandoon yung tools ng application ni Google Tools. So, better na maganda po sari-sarili. Kasi ako, kahit alam ko na pwede i-capacitate yung 100 for one meeting, uh, I can do, sometimes nagbibigay ako ng asynchronous for this. Nag-upload ako ng module. Then sa kabilang klase, pwede ko silang i-meet. Or kung maalawan ng buhay ni teacher, like for example, kung pare-pareho yung subject mo, isang preparation ka lang, o di ipasok mo lahat ng module, isang module lang. Then, pwede naman. So, actually, pre naman yun eh, as long as meron tayong domain. Kaya i-encourage teacher ng DepEd to use the deped.gov.ph kasi ang mga learners po natin ay meron na pong DepEd account. So, pwede na natin gamitin ang ating deped.gov.ph. At kung may budget naman yung school, pwede tayong bumili ng Education Plus kasi po doon updated na. Pwede na po doon ay 500 na ang pwede nang makapasok sa Google Meet link. O yan. Yun nga lang, medyo, hindi naman ganun kamahal. So, medyo yung Google partner natin ang mag-explain for that. So, kung gusto natin yung medyo mas bongga, so magbabayad lang tayo. Pero ang minimum lang, kayang-kaya. Teacher nga, kaya ito eh. Ayan. So, pag gusto natin bongga, and we know naman, sir, pag gusto natin ng maayos, di ba, sometimes nagpe-pay po talaga tayo from our own pocket. So, sometimes, 'di ba, sir? Kasi kami minsan sa public school, pag gusto namin bongga, talagang naglalabas din kami kahit papaano. Well,
Hmm.
it's up to teacher kung paano nyo gagamitin yung some of the strategy. But maganda yung sagot ni sir. Ayan. So, sino naman po ito? Si Ma'am SP Ventura, sabi niya, di ko po yata naabutan. Possible po ba na hindi na magpa-admit sa Google Meet ang papasok na wala sa GCR? Like yung head na gustong pumasok sa Google Meet, sir. Paano po yan?
Yes. Puwede naman actually sinagot na ni Sir Roy dito sa comments, eh. Puwede daw, i-turn off lang ang quick access or actually i-turn on dapat ang quick access. So, basta naka-turn on po ito, kahit sino po puwedeng pumasok or you can invite, your, superior doon sa mismong Google Meet.
Ako, pag teacher ako, invite ko na rin para hindi na kasi
Mm,
'di ba sa public school, ewan ko sa inyo sir, may observation din I think. 'Di ba nag-o-observe
meron
yung
po.
teacher or the head. O di ipasok nila, then makita niya yung mga module na prepare nyo, paano kayo
Hmm,
magturo, pwede naman. Okay. So kasi naman pag nagtuturo talaga tayo, wala tayong dapat ika-panic. Everyone is welcome to our class. Ayan, sabi ni Ma'am Sir Jerry, we are using multiple link, categorize mo na lang ang mga participants. So, pwede na naman categorize. So, nasa inyo. It's up to the teacher. I know a lot of teacher, there are a lot of strategy that you can apply that. So, sabi naman ni Ma'am Pelar from YouTube, good PM sir, ano po gamit ng copy link po sa topic? Try ko po siya gamitin ngayon dahil po emoji copy and paste. Di po magalaw. Salamat po. Ayan, sir. Kasalanan mo
okey.
yan. Never mind. Hindi, joke lang.
So, yung copy link po, paano ko ba i-explain 'to? Sige, puwede ko po bang i-present ang aking screen ulit?
Yes, sige, sige, sir. You can present. Kasi excited ang participants for this.
Sige po. Ah, share ko na lang po itong window. So, nakikita niyo po ba yung naka-present, yung aking Google Classroom?
Yes, sir. Nakikita po.
Okay. So, kapagka halimbawa copy link, so ito references halimbawa, copy link 'no. So, na-copy ko na sa clipboard. If I go to another tab and I paste the link here, taas, it will lead me to that specific topic na andun lahat ng mga assessments or mga post. Yun po ang use ng copy link. At kapag in-access po natin yon, it will lead me to the assessments or the posts per topic po. I hope nasagot ko po yung tanong. Salamat.
Ayan. Ma'am Pilar, nasagot po ba ni sir? Ayan. So, kailangan lang din po natin siyang i-practice from kung paano po present ni Sir Conrad. Ayan, sabi naman ni Ma'am SB Ventura, pag-invite po sa Gmeet or Google Meet, all throughout na po yun. I mean, di na i-admit every time.
Yes po, all throughout na po siyang makakapasok doon sa Meet as long as he or she was invited to it.
Ayan. So, talagang active ang ating mga participants, sir. Ayan. So, ayan. If you have any question po, clarification, so maganda po nasasagot ni sir. At nakakatulong po yung kanyang mga strategy para sa ating pong teacher. Ayan. So, kung may tanong po, ayan, pwede po tayong mag-chat sa atin. Ayan. So, sabi ni Ma'am SP, Sir, thank you. Ayan. So, ang bilis na sumagot, diba? So, ayan,
Salamat
meron pa po
po.
ba tayong mga katanungan for this? Ito natutuwa ako dito. Sabi ni Sir Marlon, I'm 47 years old, serving the institution for more than 20 years. I support every DepEd and program. I'm a MAPE major. Kasi sir, natatandaan nyo, ito yung medyo mahirap po sa MAPE subject. Yung kung
Mm,
paano sila magpapavideo sa kanyang PE class, paano mapapakita yung tawag dito, yung kanilang 'di ba siyempre nagtuturo sila ng mga sports. So sa inyo ba sir,
opo.
paano niyo itinawid yang MAPE sa online
Um,
class?
Hindi ako sobrang sure kung ano yung practices ng MAPE sa'min, but I know for a fact that they have a lot of videos that they have their students do. So for example, may mga figure sila sa mga dances na kailangan gawin. They take videos of each figure, tapos i-upload nila sa Google Classroom. So, pwede rin gamitin ni teacher ang classroom for checking videos. Pwedeng andun din sa kanan yung rubrics. Habang sina-check ni teacher yung video, click-click lang kung ano yung grade ni student based on the different criteria. Or the teacher can also do a private comment on how to probably improve the dance of the student. So, ganun po.
Ayan, totoo yan. Gano'n din, nakikita ko rin sa anak ko, share ko lang din. Kasi one time nag-ano siya, yung dance. Kasi syempre, kas party talaga ng lesson yun. Huwag natin sabihin, ano ba yan, corny-corny, maybe no, it's part ng lesson yun. So ako siya yung nagda-dance, ako yung naghahawak ng cellphone para i-video siya. So meaning, ako na yung nagda-direct kung, kailangan mo na ba maging graceful ang dance? So di ba nakakatulong? And this is the collaboration ng magulang kapag, syempre, nasa bahay yung mga anak natin. So, yun maganda yun. Sabi ni Sir o Ma'am Da ba to? Masina, sabi niya, rubrics that are accessible to the collaborating teacher to unintegrated activities. Ayan, tama naman. Kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir, you can upload the YouTube video at the same time while watching. Pwede mo nang gradean kasi pwede kayo mag-create ng rubric, pwede kayo mag-import from the Google Sheet, o pwede kayo mag-create ng sarili nyong rubric. Okay? So, ayan po. Itong sinabi, kinoment ni Sir Raplim, use breakout rooms, Chrome add-ons. Hindi ko pa siya na-try. Sir, ikaw na-try mo po na ba ito, yung use breakout room? Ay, na-try ko po siya sa
Yes.
version ng Google Meet kasi we have the account ng paid version. Meron siyang breakout rooms. Maganda siya
Opo.
gamitin. Ayan.
So, sige, try natin yung breakout room ngayon, no? Pwede ko bang i-share ulit ang aking
Sige,
screen?
sige, sir. Sige, sir.
Sige.
I-share mo siya. That is free lang yun
Okay.
sa'yo, sir, di ba?
Opo.
Add-on sa Google, sa add-on sa
Ah,
Chrome.
kasama po siya sa aming subscription.
Oo, kasi paid yan
Opo.
eh, di ba? Pero pwede
Opo.
natin yung pakita.
Pwede po. So, nakikita niyo po ba ang aking screen? Nakapresent na po ba?
Yes, sir.
Ayan. So, dito, halimbawa, ako si teacher and I want to do breakout rooms. Diba? So, I can click this sa may activities, itong mga shapes na to. And then, I can set up breakout rooms, okay, using this option. So, may timer, okay, kung hanggang kailan lang magiging active yung breakout room. Pwede kong i-shuffle yung mga students to automatically assign them to different breakout rooms. And I can set the number of rooms na meron tayo, no, for the students. So, unfortunately, I am not sure, pero hindi ata pwede mag-set up ng mga breakout rooms before the meeting kapag sa Google Classroom. Okay? Alam ko pwede to sa pwede to sa calendar generated meet, no? So, ayun, you can have different names for each breakout room. Okay, you can type the student's name here to add them to the breakout room. Pwedeng i-drag, okay? Kapag may student ka dito, pwede nyo i-drag. And then, ayun, you can also add different number of rooms, no? So aside from that, marami pa tayong mga options dito for student engagement. Like for example, yung polls, okay? For quick surveys, you can start a poll, okay, ask a question, tapos lalabas yun sa Meet. And then, once students access this option over here, pwede rin nasagutan yung poll. Q&A, pwede rin siya. You can also integrate yung Jamboard sa Google Classroom by clicking on whiteboarding. So, pag click natin yung whiteboard, may lalabas na. Okay, Google Jamboard. I don't know if you can see it on screen, pero lumabas po yung window niya. Then you can present that to your students. Ayun po.
Ayan. So, pinakita na ni sir. Yun po yung may paid version. Pero ano yan, subscription yan every year. O kung gusto niyo naman i-try, I think meron yatang months. Okay. So,
Opo.
dahil free naman na po binibigay ni Google, pag gusto niyo pa yung mas more on like Zoom, ang Zoom naman kasi may bayad, di ba? So, pwede nating i-try yung mag-subscribe tayo. Malay nyo, project ng DepEd yan, di natin alam. Diba? Kasi si sir naman nasa private eh. Tignan natin sa public naman, malay nyo, diba? Ayan. So, natuwa sila, ang galing-galing daw. So, meron dito tanong, sir, si Ma'am Chris, sabi niya, gagamitin po ba yan ng title tab or iba po? Tab?
Tile tab, iba, eh. So, may mga groups hindi po siya lalabas sa ano, sa main na Meet, yung mga breakout rooms. Bale kailangan mong puntahan siya individually as a teacher. So, mawawala po sila sa main Meet, tapos you have to go and click on, yung kung nasaang breakout room po sila ta's do'n kayo puwedeng pumasok. Pero meron
Yes.
din extension alam ko dati ng breakout room, eh, kung saan nandun sila mismo sa main na Meet, makikita mo sila. Hindi ko lang alam kung existing pa siya.
O kasi kanina sabi dito, meron daw sa Chrome extension, you can download. Pero hindi ko pa rin po siya natatry. Kasi meron kaming pinahiram na paid version na sa mga session, sa mga webinar, nagagamit po namin yung pinakita niyo, sir, yung merong uh, breakout room. Parang yung nasa Zoom. Ayan. So, for the how much, meron pong link po dyan. Pwede natin may-browse kung how much. Ang alam ko, pag Education Plus, that is $5. Yan, for subscription. Education Plus. Ayan. So, pwede natin makita sa site, pwede natin i-search. Sabi ni Sir Rap Lim, walang Q&A and poll sa DepEd Google Workspace, pati breakout rooms, kaya Chrome extension lang gamit ko.
Mm.
So, meaning nagagamit ni Sir sa Chrome. Meron talaga sa Chrome extension. Ayan. So,
Meron.
pwede nating itry. Kung na-try ni Sir Ralph Lim, I think pwede nating itry sa Chrome extension. Pwede tayong mag-search ng mga extension sa ating Chrome Web Store. Okay? Try din natin. Wala namang masama, di ba, kung itatry natin. Kasi nai-enjoy. Ayan. Sa activities ng Google Meet. O, ayan. Di ba? Thank you for sharing, Sir Ralph. Ayan, sabi naman ni Ma'am Sarah, okay, okay na yan, ginagamit ko yan during the same class, parang grouping ng bata. Good for activities. Yes, kahit naman po sa mga meetings natin, 'di ba? Let's say sa plenary, buo tayo tapos sa mga session, i-breakdown na 'yan into Zoom meeting. Ayan. So, ang galing, ayan. Good information, sabi ni Ma'am, ang hirap basahin, sir. Kaya mo mabasahin yung pangalan niya from YouTube. MIR. Yun. Sabi niya, good information, excellent for your class, education, and best subject to all. So, ayan. So,
Salamat
thank
po.
you so much, sir. Meron pa rin po sa extension. Ayan, sabi ni Ma'am Glenda Marie Murillo, meron pa rin. Kilala mo ba to, sir?
Hindi po.
Ayan, kala ko kilala mo siya. O yan, sabi, ayan, ano to? Sabi ni Sir Arsenia, good evening, sa wakas nakachamba din. Para po sa mga nakachamba o sa ngayon lang nag-tune in, every Wednesday po, meron kaming title na The Googley Filipino Teacher. This event is for the teacher who wants to know about the different Google application tools in teaching. So every Wednesday po ito from 7 to 8:30. Kaya lagi po kayong mag-tune in at i-like and share kung handa tayong matuto at ibahagi sa ating mga kaguruan. Ayan, I'm glad I got to hear Sir Conrad, the soft-spoken but smart and mamuhay, so accommodating. Ay, wow, sir, may pants ka na. The soft-spoken but smart. Ayan, nako, may pants na si sir. At dahil dyan, ayan, bigyan niyo naman ng virtual clap si sir dahil uh, na, I'm thankful kay sir kasi kahit na ginagamit ko ng application na to, I learned from one of the 7 hacks na shinare ni sir. I hope kayo din po mga dear ma'am and sir, natuto po tayo sa gabing ito. Ayan. So, sir, do you have any message sa ating pong mga participants this afternoon? Wala na po kasi ako nakikitang mga tanong nila for clarification. Ayan, ayan, nag-virtual clap si ma'am. Ayan, nag-clap-clap sila. Ayan. Kung nagustuhan po natin, tayo pa ay mag-clap-clap. Ayan, thank you sa mga nag-clap-clap. Ayan.
Ayan. So siguro ano na lang some parting words. Maraming salamat sa pagkinig ninyo at sa participation ngayong gabi. Ang Google naman ay hindi naman mahirap intindihin, pero napakataas ng ano niya, ng skill ceiling niya kumbaga. So if you are able to know the ins and outs of Google and if you are creative enough to bring out its potential, okay? Naniniwala akong kayang-kaya natin lahat, okay? magtuos with whatever challenges distance learning brings us. And of course, isipin na rin natin na paano tayo magta-transition to face-to-face. How will Google be able to help us in that way? So let us just be prepared, okay? And let us be open siguro to the different tools that are offered to us by not just Google, pero kung saan man galing. Ayun po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Ayan. Thank you, Sir Conrad. Hanggang sa muli nating pagkikita sa mga susunod na event. Ayan. Thank you so much po. I hope na you will learn a lot. So, next Wednesday po, abangan nyo po ulit kami sa another session. Kung nagustuhan nyo yung unang session natin about the Google site from Miss Tony. So I know you learn a lot from that topic. And also this topic is very much engaging for us, dear teacher, using the 7 hacks in Google Classroom that teacher should know. So natuto po ba tayo? I know natuto kayo kasi lahat kayo ay nag-clap, clap, clap. Ayan. So, thank you so much. I hope na mag-stay tuned kayo. Please follow, like, and share to support our Google. Especially dun po sa mga teacher na natulungan na nabigyan ni Google ng voucher. Ayan. So, ayan, nakita ko po sa Sir Berhilio ng Pangasinan. Good evening po. Now, sa mga nakita ko po na nagsabi na wala po bang recorded video, na-upload na po sa ating PDLMS, which is a training.deb.gov.ph. You can take a 5 quiz to get your certificate. Meron pong team replay kung hindi nyo po napanood yung diniscuss ni Sir Conrad. So, again, lahat naman po ng teacher na laging suki namin sa EdTech, lahat mo ng mga training, yes, is still the same. Nasa training.deped.gov.ph pa din po ang ating pagkuha ng certificate. But of course, bago nyo kunin ng certificate, meron lang pong 5 katanungan. Si Sir po ang nag-create ng short quiz para po makita niya na naintindihan natin ang ating topic for this evening. Again, the topic is 7 hacks that the teacher should know. So, ayan, thank you so much po sa inyo. Google Forever po. So, ayan, Google Forever. Ayan. So, thank you so much. Hanggang sa uulitin po, I hope na gustuhan nyo po. Ayan. Sa lahat po na may queries about the Google certification, just email us lang po. Ayan. So, ayun po. Para po mag-level up po ang ating skills. Sabi nga ni Sir Conrad, hindi naman po mahirap matuto ang different Google applications sa ating pagtuturo. All we have to do is practice. At hindi ko sinasabi magiging perfect agad-agad, but pagka nagpa-practice po tayo, we learn a lot. Ayan, gaya nga ni Sir Conrad, diba? Malay nyo, kayo po ang mga susunod na speaker na magbabahagi ng another hacks na natutunan ninyo. Ayan. Kung natutunan ni Sir Conrad, matututunan nyo rin po. At kung natutunan ko, kayang-kaya natin, basta gusto natin. Ayan. Again, hindi ko na po patatagalin at kukunin ang inyong mahabang oras. Maraming salamat po. Sir Conrad, again, thank you so much sa pagpapaunlak nyo dito. Thank you so much.
Salamat po.
Ayan. Oh, may done na raw po sa quiz. Ayan. Ayan. So, ang email ko po ay rowena.reyes004@deped.gov.ph. Ayan. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much, Sir Conrad. Napakaganda po ng topic ninyo tonight. Again,
Salamat
dear
po.
teacher, thank you so much po. Hanggang sa muli nating pagkita. See you again on Wednesday, 7 to 8:30. Ayan, got the certificate. Meron na po silang certificate na nakuha. Ayan, thank you so much. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Ayan. Good day! This is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work.
Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.